This week in the nation's capital started with a bang. Protests at the FCTA, where the Joint Union Action Committees said they had 14 unmet demands, and the FCT minister's aide disagreed, stating that 10 of their 14 demands had been met, calling their protest unnecessary and ill-motivated. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Finance was set for yet another protest by local contractors. And this time, they are decrying the alleged continued delays in payments for projects executed by them. We'll serve you the details in our focus on the FCT. And my guest, who's the president of the local contractors, joins us for a conversation on how approvals are made and disbursements are delayed. This is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Megwa. President Tinubu is back in the country, and the Vice President unveiled the Nigeria House in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum. It's time for Abuja Wrap.
President Bola Tinubu has charged the newly sworn-in chairman and commissioners of the Federal Character Commission to uphold the peace and stability of the nation by being fair and just in their service. The president said this after the chairman, Ayo Midiran, and the commissioners were sworn in, and admonished them to seek ways of contributing to the growth and advancement of the country. The governor of Kano State, Abba Yusuf, was at the State House to meet with President Bola Tinubu. His visit to the State House comes amid reports of the possible defection from the New Nigeria People's Party to the All Progressives Congress. After spending over 3 hours in the president's office, the governor emerged but declined all attempts by State House correspondents for him to speak on the reason for his visit. Vice President Kashim Shettima has advocated for homegrown solutions to Africa's economic problems, emphasizing innovative approaches for growth, development, and prosperity on the continent. The Vice President gave the advice during a high-level Accra Reset Initiative meeting held on the sidelines of the ongoing 2026 World Economic Forum annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, where he observed that Africa is no longer the ferry, but the pulse of the world's demographic and economic future. The meeting had in attendance President John Mahama of Ghana, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, some top business leaders as well as development partners. Vice President Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed Nigeria's renewed seriousness, readiness and resolve to take her place as an active participant in shaping global economic conversations. He stated this when he officially opened the first ever Nigeria House in Davos, Switzerland, on the sideline of the ongoing World Economic Forum. The Vice President said, while nations do not prosper in isolation, Nigeria's future growth depends on deliberate structured engagement with the global economy. Vice President Kashim Shettima says Nigeria no longer views food security through a narrow agricultural lens, but as a fundamental macroeconomic, security and governance issue. He stated this during a high-level panel titled When Food Becomes Security at the Congress Center during the 56th World Economic Forum meeting in Davos, Switzerland. Vice President Shettima said the federal government has a multi-dimensional agricultural drive designed to insulate the nation from global shocks while restoring the productivity of its food basket regions. President Bola Tinubu has approved the gazetting of targeted investment-linked incentives to support the proposed Bonga Southwest Deep Offshore Oil Project by Shell and its partners. The president also directed a special advisor on energy, Mrs. Ifeanyi, to facilitate the gazette of the incentives in line with Nigeria's existing legal and fiscal frameworks. Receiving the Shell delegation led by its Global Chief Executive Officer Wael Sawan, President Tinubu said the incentives are disciplined, targeted and globally competitive, designed to attract new capital without undermining government revenues. Speaking after the meeting, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Bayo Julari, said the Shell boss also committed to making more investments in the country. The governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has stated that he is comfortable in the People's Democratic Party and has no intention of joining the stream of governors joining the All Progressives Congress. Following his meeting with the president at the State House, Governor Makinde said he met with the president to discuss some governance issues. He also maintained that he has a harmonious relationship with the president and has said nothing to suggest otherwise.
Welcome back. Local contractors again staged a peaceful protest at the Federal Ministry of Finance in Abuja over alleged continued delays in payments for executed projects. The protesters blocked the entrance to the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Finance with their vehicles, singing solidarity songs and displaying placards that contained their demands. Meanwhile, workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration declared an indefinite strike, which commenced on Monday, January the 19th, 2026, over unpaid promotion arrears. The president of the Joint Action Congress, Mrs. Rifkatu Iyote, said the action followed what the union described as the administration's breach of trust, inaction, and deliberate demoralization of its workforce through a litany of unresolved grievances. Here's how it all happened. Outside the headquarters of the Federal Ministry of Finance complex in Abuja, members of the Indigenous Contractors Association blocked the entrance into the complex as they protest unpaid sums of money for executed and commissioned projects.
Now what money we need, oh, we don't need another thing. Now what money we need, oh.
Holding placards with messages highlighting their demands, the protesters vow not to back down until they're paid.
None of our contractors has received 1 naira. Even the ones that they were supposed to raise their warrants for. You know, the Minister of State promised that they will release the warrants. We should come up with our list. We've given them all their needs. To date now, we've not seen any warrants approval. We're talking about over 4 trillion. Because as we speak now, there are so many other projects that has been completed. To date now, that has not been paid. The only ones we received few was that the 230 billion they released then. And that one only ended in February last year. How much are we talking about? We're talking about over 4 trillion. Because as we speak now, there are so many other projects that has been completed. To date now, that has not been paid. We will continue to be law-abiding. We will continue to be peaceful. We will make sure every cover of every contractor is paid. No more when they will take our funds to debt management. It can't happen anymore. Because the foreign contractors that they are paying, they don't take their funds, their funds to debt management. No. We can't take that anymore. Why? Why are you killing the system? We are the ones that will borrow money, fund projects, and those funds will still be in the country. Foreign contractors, they will do projects, can't take the money outside.
The situation reached a boiling point when the Minister of State for Finance arrived and attempted to access the premises. Protesters refused to yield to security demands to clear a path for her convoy, resulting in gunshots, which worsened the tense atmosphere.
The police just shot at us. This is the bullet. This is the bullet.
Five rounds.
At a peaceful protest. We are harmless. We do not have anything with us. We are just sitting down, protesting peacefully, demanding for our money, our payment. Agreements they've entered with us severally, which they've not kept any one of them. And that is why we are gathered here today. All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria. We have tried to meet with her severally. The other day we went to her office. We waited for 5 hours. She was just passing us to and fro without meeting with us. To tell us why. Most of those payments finalized since 31st of December 2025, and none has dropped up till now.
Efforts to call for a meeting with the Minister of State for Finance after the initial standoff failed. Indigenous contractors have staged several protests last year, which led up to the setup of a committee by President Bola Tinubu to look into the matter. The protests had earlier received the attention of the National Assembly, who summoned the Minister of Finance and the Accountant General of the Federation back then to make some clarifications.
We have arranged all the funding for 2024, and I had said earlier, it's agreeing with your creditors. So funds are available to clear the gateway, half by funding in cash and half by rolling over to service-wide vote, which would start as soon as the new budget starts. That takes care of the whole of 2024 that has been warranted. All of 2024. And as for 2025, I'll repeat again, the funding for the 30% of the 2025 MDA's budget that has been warranted, the funding is sitting there. Local contractors, they gave us the envelope, they gave us the list. From December 5, their funding has been available. In fact, they came with a list then, their funding is available, it's always been available. They know it is available.
Okay.
As the Honourable Minister said, funding has been provided, payment started. Specifically for the indigenous contractors, we've gone more than 80% on their own. Indigenous contractors, indigenous. Yes, for indigenous contractors. We started the payment around Monday last week, and even as at yesterday, they were still bringing their list. The first batch and the second batch that were given to us, we have cleared those ones for the indigenous contractors.
For now, the protesters have vowed to continue their demonstrations until their demands are met. They accuse the government of prioritizing other expenditures, while their members face bankruptcy, property seizures, and in some cases, death due to financial difficulties. Meanwhile, on the same day, at the Federal Capital Development Authority complex, which houses most of the agencies under the Ministry of the FCT, workers under the ministry shut down government activities over unpaid promotion arrears, among other labor issues. The workers under the Joint Union Action Congress demanded the payment of outstanding promotion arrears and wage awards, conduct and release of stalled promotion exercises, cessation of service extensions for retired directors and permanent secretaries, remittance of pension contributions and National Housing Fund NHF deductions, addressing the mass failure reportedly 77.5% in the 2024 promotion examinations.
So many glitches happen, ranging from power failure, overcrowdiness, invalid login and all, and we called their attention to it, but nothing was done. And before we know it, they gave us a 22.5% success rate. And we know that we are not dons in the FCT, and we know that this is not what should be. So it's part of our agitation. Another of our agitation is the wage award, which has not been paid. When we started talking about this, they decided to pay one month for every staff against the 5 months. They paid the hazard allowance for the health and medical workers, the 13 months, which is part of our grievance.
The strike follows the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum issued on January the 7th, 2026 by the workers. They insisted that all workers should stay away from work across the 6 area councils.
Before now, we have had meetings with the DSS who are fronting for the security. And you know, FCT is volatile right now. The elections for the area councils are by the corner. So many people are having their agitations. And so we don't even want staff to come to work. For we that are here are representative of the staff, and we want it as peaceful as possible. And that is why it is this way, sir. And if you can see there's total compliance. Staff are not coming to work. If you go around, staff are not at work.
Meanwhile, the FCT administration clarifies that most of the workers' demands have been met. A statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister, Mr. Liri Olayinka, states that 10 out of the 14 demands of the workers that are on strike have been met. The statement decries the strike as unnecessary, ill-motivated, and aiming at achieving other purposes. The workers are insisting that they will continue the industrial action until the demands are met. My guest tonight represents one of the groups that protested during the week. The president of the All Indigenous Contractors Association of Nigeria, Mr. Jackson Ifeanyi. Mr. Ifeanyi Jackson, welcome to the Headline Abuja.
Thank you, Kayla.
This has been going on for a very long time, this strike actions. The report that we just aired before this interview, we saw the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun. He says that they've done, him and the Accountant General of the Federation, in fact, it was the Accountant General really that said that over 80% of the payments have been made. And Mr. Wale Edun said the money has been released, but your people keep protesting. You've been protesting since last year into January, and you're still saying that you've not received the money. Is it a situation where approval has been made, but the cash hasn't been disbursed? Was some cash disbursed and other people are still waiting? What is the problem really?
The problem is that this government, they always renege on their agreements. I think as of last year, as we speak now, they are owing contractors over 4 trillion.
Contractors nationwide?
Nationwide, yes.
4 trillion naira?
Yes, over 4 trillion. So last year, we brokered a deal with them, to pay some of our association members. So what they do made available 150 billion for our contractors. Mm-hmm. So they be paying gradually. As we submit list, they pay. When
was the last time he released 150 billion?
Because we can't see the account. That is what he said.
Okay, but from your members, disbursements have been coming. People have been receiving alerts?
I think as at November, there's a certain payment that was made. Somebody receive alerts. After that time, especially when this Doris came in now, because now she's now most responsibility that has been with Wale Edun has been transferred to Doris, which is the Minister
of State for Finance.
Yes. So since then, no contractors have received 1 naira.
Since November?
Yes, no contractors have received 1 naira. Now, the ones that was finalized even as at December 31st, normally, if your payment has been finalized, immediately you receive your payment. Just like you taking a check. You taking a check to the bank, the counter, after you've signed, done all the necessary things, they credit you. Now, that 31st, all payments that was finalized, as you speak now, none of us have seen 1 naira. No alert. So, and I've written to her several, I've spoken with her, So I said, see, contractors, most of them are restless. These are people that borrowed money from banks and all that. Please try and do the needful. And she told me there is no money. Why is it that until when we come out back again to the street, that is when we will start running up and down to look for the money? But I believe by the special grace, according to her, so by today, we'll start seeing a lot. We'll start seeing a lot, we'll rest a little. But secondly, there are certain unbashed payments. Because if those ones doesn't have bash, which means they cannot process them. So we've given her the list so they can badge those ones. If they badge those ones, they cannot process it from the MDAs to Accountant General for payment. So when they meet these 2 demands, I'll leave the street for now.
Just so people can understand what kind of contracts you were doing for the government. When you say your contractors, what kind of work were you doing?
Different things. Like me, I built an ICT center at Ndufu, Alex Ekweme University, Ebonyi State. I did the innovation at Federal Government College, Imo State. I did a solar system edition at Bayelsa also.
What money did you use to do them? You used your own money or you collected loans?
I borrowed, banks now don't even trust government again. So banks don't give us loan. So we collect loan, especially from most of these financial institutions, or these ones that give about 10-20% interest. These private loaners. You get to bank, no commercial bank in Nigeria that sponsors contract from federal government.
Let me, just so people who don't know this type of work can understand what it means. When there's a contract when the government needs something done, they put it in the newspaper, they ask all of you to bid. And then I think, I don't know if they still do that now. Back in the day, you have to bring an advance payment guarantee. You have to bring,
APG.
You have to bring an APG from the bank. Yes. And then when you bring that advance payment guarantee, if you meet the requirements, they give you the contract. Yes. And then the bank releases the money for you in tranches, depending on how much work has been done. So you're saying now that's not the process that a lot of you used to do these jobs.
Most of us that submitted APG for 1 year, government could not honor the APG. Most of those APG, most of those expired in their hands. Some of us went back again to do another APG again. Still was not honored, which means there was no available fund to credit the contractors. So we borrow fund and complete all these projects. And most of these projects has been commissioned and in use. Renew Hope project. What happened to the funds? We don't know.
The last protest that we saw was pretty intense, complete with gunshots and everything. Is this going to be sorted in your view? Do you think they'll keep their word this time? Because you've protested maybe 3 or 4 times.
More than. Even in the National Assembly.
Yes. So what assurances have you been given now that make you think that they would honor this particular promise that they've made now?
I think we don't believe this government anymore. What any assurance they want to give to us must be assurance of seeing alert. That alert, we're not living in the street. They want to pay. They will pay all payment that is within that finalization stage. Every other one that's on the process, we'll follow them up. When they get to that finalization stage, if they refuse to pay again, we'll come out again. But now, we'll open our eyes. You give us contracts, we prepare APG. You don't honor APG, we're not going to site. But
why did you decide to take loans to do these jobs when those APGs were not honored?
No, see, there's one thing you understand. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in 2023. Okay? So that 2023 budget was budget prepared by the former President Buhari. President Buhari. So 2024 was the first Renew Hope budget of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So we expect that since the Buhari, that doesn't have vision, has been paying, we expect that Tinubu also will continue to pay contractors. You understand? Are
you saying that the Buhari administration was paying you better?
Better.
Than the Tinubu administration?
Buhari administration, they didn't owe us. As we speak now, 2024 capital project was financed 100% with contractors' funds, borrowed funds. President Tinubu did not contribute a dime in the project that he commissioned as a new project. He did not contribute a dime. We are the ones that borrowed funds and, do this project. But if it's coastal road and all that, other foreign edition, they give them sometimes 70%, 80% upfront. While we, local contractors, that we invest here, we are not taking our money out. They are now owing us. They want to allow all of us to die. We are here with them. Anything they want, we'll give it to them.
And finally, for those who've collected loans, how are they handling that? Are these people you collected loans from, are they coming after your members? What kind of atmosphere are we seeing among the members of your organization right now?
As we speak, there's somebody, he's a contractor also. I think he gave me some, only one HP. As we speak, I'm still owing him. He called me yesterday. He has called me this morning also. He's part of our contractors, but he told me that was not our agreement. Some of us can't even pay school fees. Some have died. There was a woman yesterday, if you notice on the interview, she lost her daughter because of 9 million. She lost her daughter to cancer. And they are owing her about 1.4 billion naira. This is wickedness. That must stop. We must put an end to every bad debt.
As we wrap up, what's your message to the Tinubu administration right now?
My message to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, my appeal is for them to pay contractors. We don't want contractors' fund to start going into debt management. Whenever payment goes to debt management, what they usually do is, if you have about 5 billion, maybe by 2028, they might decide to give you 10 million out of 5 billion. 2030, they might give you 1 million. 2050, by that time, you've lost all you have. Probably you use your property to take loan. What we are not saying now is there's no payment again that must go to debt management. We will stand on it and make sure we rewrite the history of this country.
I want to thank you very much for making out the time to be with us. And we hope that all of these things are sorted out and that you go back to being happy people who are investing in their country.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it so much.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Please let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.